Welcome to jobskillshare.org, Module 4, Manage Windows Services Introductory Lecture. Now, this lecture will be given by Ali, but I wanted to share my 2 cents in this specific section because it is very important for a lot of people who are going to become sysadmin and even help desk. So, as a sysadmin, when you work on a lot of Windows servers, you're going to be managing so many applications, especially if this shop is like a Microsoft shop and they install application on the servers. You're going to be dealing with this section a lot. It's called services, and most of these applications will have their own services, and especially if this organization is using IIS, which is Microsoft Web server, so where people will put sites and then people can connect to sites. Like, for example, you go to jobskillshare.org, it could be running on IIS, and then as a sysadmin you will be really managing that site if it goes down. So it happened actually today. One of my clients sent us a message. I'm going to show you right now that good morning, fellas, and this is a user support technician. So you see, a user support technician is working with a sysadmin because a user support technician did his troubleshooting that, okay, this is not just a one-person issue. They cannot get to the site. A lot of people cannot get to the site. So what's going on? So they sent the message, can somebody look at it? Then, I went in and said, okay, let me look into this, what's going on. And of course, you see, I jumped into the IIS because I know by looking at the error, I can see, okay, this is not a database issue. This is not a other issue. I can see this is coming from one server. So wherever this application is installed, like this web server is running from, that server is having an issue. So I logged into it. Now, this type of stuff that you're learning in this course, I'm not going to go too much in detail, but I just want to emphasize on the services section, where when I saw this, that application pool is all stopped. This means every site in this IIS web server is actually stopped right here. You can see it right here. It's stopped. So that tells me that there's something more going on. It's not just this, IIS application. Because what you can do is you can actually go to one and try to click on start, and then it will tell you that one of the services in Windows, which is kind of like the worker process behind this. I don't want to go to too much detail, but that is the service that runs all these pools basically. So it can tell you that this is where the issue is. But of course, when you know this stuff, okay, all of this stuff is running through one service. So what can make it all stop? That would be definitely some kind of service, right? So if you go to the service right now, this was stopped. So I restarted it, and after that, the site came back up again. So you see, the importance of services as a sysadmin is too important for you. So you really need to go in there and first look into what type of applications this company is using. And if they are using some type of, application like IIS and other things, like maybe they have custom application, they have enterprise application. Even though I have worked on a lot of applications that use like indexing and searching ability for sites, like you go to JobSkillShare and try to search something, that would be running from a different server, and that is running on a Windows server, and then it has its own services. So you gotta find out in the company what other than normal Windows services, what are they using here? So you will find it over here. That will be your first place to go there to see if there's any issue going on. Because if this is stopped, everything is stopped right here. Now, if you don't know about services, I'm sure you're going to come here and spend an hour or two just to figure out what is going on over here. Let's suppose you try to start one and it didn't give you any message that this is a service issue. Then what? Then, of course, you're going to go to Event Weaver and you're going to find troubleshoot. But that's why I say it is important for me to just share this information so you know and you understand that this lecture is important. And not only that, after that, you should really get into the labs and do these labs that are here. So these are videos, but you will just go to the practice lab also, and you will perform this to get more better. Thank you so much.
Hello students, this is your module 4, Manage Windows Services, Windows Server Administration Fundamental, Windows 10 Update course. And in this lesson, we are going to learn about the feature all the Windows system provide, how to manage Windows services that are running currently or in your background of your operating system, and if your system is connected to a server, it is working in a domain environment. So lots of the services are run by your server administrator, and you just don't know whatever services are being working behind your computer your daily running task, and those services are managed by this application called the Windows services. So here we'll start to explore this topic. It is a special type of application that is configured to manage those services which are going to work in the background, and you can configure it to run as your local account, but it is not recommended. What is recommended? The recommended is that you make the services working on your background, and it may backing up your computer, and it may working on your ports, and there are a lot more things that really need to work behind your daily task. If we talk about the legacy operating system, we have Windows XP, so much legacy, as you know. What is done there? The services are already run on with your daily purpose processes. What does it mean? It means the task, the activities you are doing on the real time is taking some CPU of your machine. It shows the CPU usage, but the services are allowed to work along with your daily processes. That put a lot of pressure, lot of load on your resources, and it may show you the latency, the slow speed of processing. That's why in the new coming versions like the Vista, after Vista, those services are not allowed to interact with your local desktop. What is your local desktop? Your user account where you are working on the real time. Those services are using another account to work behind your task. So that is a major change and innovation made by Microsoft just right after the Windows XP. And some applications have to work on your local, because there are lots of applications who must have to use your permissions, your access, your interaction. But in that case, you can configure to show their processes, their message box, their request permittal boxes on your local desktop. And if you didn't configure, if you don't allow it, so it's gonna work behind there. And for that scenario, we have the administrative account, which is responsible for managing those applications which required background running but don't disturb your local account and your local activities. And here you have a screenshot of services, and you can see here different sort of things, and we have selected the distributed link tracking service here. And if we right click there to further enhance the options, you got to configure there. And if you want the service, want to launch the service panel, you just press the window key and type the services.msc, so you can brought on that panel. And from there you can easily manage, and you can edit the permission level, you can edit how they're going to start and what would be the process of starting. That would be manual or automatic. You can change it, and you can also start, stop, restart those services, and you can drive so many directions how they gonna behave while it is start or it is running on the background. And here you can see we just right click and open the multiple options of this particular service, and in the General tab you can set it to the startup type and find out some detail. You can stop these services by pressing the stop button here, and when you switch to the tab log on, here you can allow or disallow the service to start on log on or not. And if you check that box, allow service to interact with the desktop, so you're gonna start finding the responses, the changes those services making, and what sort of message they are delivering for your permission, for your information are start to come on your screen while you're working on the local desktop. So that check may allow that thing, but there are not only this check work here. You need to go to the Registry Editor, and if there you're gonna find that the non-interactive services are set to 0, so it's going to work and interact with you on the desktop. But if it's set to 1, so it will cancel all its activities to interact with your local desktop. Then the Recovery tab, that allows you to choose the option for what happened when the services fail. It provides you the second method when the services got failed, and it will show you the different method what we need to take action when the services got failed. And there are a lot more things which is able to do when the services got failed, and you can change it to automatically restart the service once you want to check here. And let me show you the screenshot of the Recovery tab. Now there is your Recovery tab, and here you can set the 0 failure possibilities, and you can set the options from here. If it failed for first time, then it's going to fail the second time. You can change the status and change the settings in the case of failure. Now then you have the Dependencies tab, and in this tab you can make the details. You can find out the detail what sort of services are dependent on which service. If you intended to stop the service at any moment, but you have to realize, you have to know that that particular service is responsible for running that other services that is working along with your computer processes. So this tab going to provide you to the full scale detail of those services which are not need to be stopped. If they're gonna stop, your system is not working properly anymore. So we should have to move to this tab before stopping any kind of services. So that's all for this theoretical lecture. Now we are moving ahead for the demo, the practical scenario, and here I'm going to show you some thing about the Dependencies tab. So let's move to the demo. Now here we are brought to the Windows server. Just minimize the server manager, and there we're going to type Windows R, or you should press the window and type services, and here you got the services desktop application, and here the services Windows box is being opened there. Now there are lots of services available for you, and if we right click to there, we have the services that is being listed in the right pane, and all other things are listed for the left. Now here we are going to type the server for S for server, and right click to open the properties, and here you can see it brought us to the property box. And if we select the dependencies here, then you're gonna find those of the services that are dependent on other services. Here you can see, if you expand the security account manager, this is remote procedure RPC, and all services are dependent on each other. Here you have the SRV host, all are being listed here, and the following component you are seeing here: Windows deployment services server, netlogon, DFS namespace, and computer browser are dependent on these services. So you should not stop those services in any case. If you stop that, those 4 services are no longer work correctly on your system. So that is all about the demo. We just show you how you can understand and how you get the details about the dependent services, those services which are depend on the other services, and that is the precaution before disabling any services. So that's all for this lesson. Hope you learn this Windows services topic, and further will be clear just right after attempting of all the tasks. You would be completely clear what sort of things we are going to discuss in this topic. So thanks for watching.